Creek, Michigan, in our Battle Creek City Commission meeting for October 3rd, 2023. It is 7 o'clock. Tonight we're going to stand, if you can, with us and have a moment of silence for our invocation. And I'll call upon Commissioner Jim Lance to lead us in the pledge. Would you please stand, if you can, for a moment of silence. Commissioner Jim Lance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on our agenda is a roll call. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
Commissioner Ballard.
Present.
Commissioner Lance.
Here.
Commissioner Morris.
Here.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Here.
Mayor Banky.
Here.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Present.
Commissioner Simmons has informed us he will be a little late. Commissioner Smith.
Present.
And Vice Mayor Sophia. Here. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And as the clerk said, Commissioner Simmons will be just a couple minutes late. We have several proclamations, and I really want to say we appreciate the number of people that contact the office to ask for proclamations. In the event that we're not able to read the entire proclamation, our seriousness is still there. We just want people to know more about some of the things that are taking place in our community, and proclamations are one of the most effective ways to let people know about them. So our first proclamation will be for breast cancer awareness. We have several people that will be here, or just one person, excuse me. Joy Summers, Relay for Life, will be here. All right, in just a minute, would you come up front? And then secondly, we have a proclamation for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And then thirdly, a proclamation for Crazy for the Kazoo 2023. Patty Hoke-Mellish will be here, and Patrick O'Donnell will help me present that. Then we have a proclamation for Fire Prevention Month, and the fire chief will be here. Yes, he's here. Good. And will there be any other fires with you? Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Chief. Almost next to last, proclamation for Get Caught Reading 2023. That'll be an interesting, our first time on that one, and the Vice Mayor is going to help me read that. Then finally, we're going to close out with Commissioner Morris and Commissioner Reynolds, reading some information about the Battle Creek Club of the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Clubs. Very nice event that took place 2 Fridays ago. So we're going to start real quick with Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Joy Summers, could you please come forward?
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I'd like to just ask you to talk a little bit about some of the information that you shared with the city on the proclamation. And maybe talk a little bit about how you got involved so we can know more information about you.
Well, I got involved with Relay for Life in 2009 because there's just too many people affected by cancer. Relay for Life is actually a fundraiser for the American Cancer Society. We raise funds to help research cures for all forms of cancer. But then October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so we concentrate on that in October. And I am a 12-year survivor myself.
Well, we want to thank everyone in your organization. We want to encourage other people in our community to be aware of the early detection, the diagnosis, and the treatment of breast cancer, and be steadfast in supporting the fight to find a cure to end this disease. And once again, on behalf of the City Commission and the people of Battle Creek, we say thank you and congratulations. Next, we have Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we have the CEO of Safe Place and her next in charge. Please come up. I'm going to turn the mic over to you, and if you could tell us a little bit of what's going on at Safe Place.
Yes, good evening. Thank you so much, everyone, for recognizing us. It's nice to see you again. Safe Place is celebrating our 40th year of providing survivors of domestic violence with safety and supportive services. We operate a 54-bed shelter just up the road, and we also provide legal advocacy, counseling, general survivor advocacy, as well as prevention education in our K-12 schools in order to interrupt cycles of violence. This last year, we just wrapped up last week. We served about 3,200 survivors of domestic violence, which is actually a 23% increase from the previous year. So I always like to say one day I hope that I don't need to be here anymore, but unfortunately, it's not going to be anytime soon.
Thank you very much. And on behalf of the people of Battle Creek, we say thank you. I know that there are so many people that assist you in fundraising on an annual basis. I know that there are several organizations that make it their number one contribution. So once again, on behalf of the people of Battle Creek, congratulations. Our next one will be Patrick O'Donnell, and he's going to be speaking to Patty Hoke-Mellish about the Crazy for the Kazoo 2023. Patty, tell us what's going on with the Crazy with the Kazoo.
Sure. So this is the, it's either 21 or 22 annual event. So we've been doing it for over 20 years. It's an event that focuses on stewardship of our natural resources. We're going to be doing a linear path cleanup and planting some native plants this time around. And so okay. And I want to give credit to my coworker Bessie Steers for organizing it. We have about over 80 people signed up already, and room for more. So, and if you sign up, I want to show you the T-shirt you'll get.
That's worth it.
Donuts and snacks too. So.
And what are the dates again?
It's this coming Saturday, October 7th, from 9 to 11. We're meeting at Department of Public Works at 150 South Kendall. Pre-registration is encouraged.
Great. I'm going to ask Commissioner O'Donnell just to say a few things.
Thank you for having such a great event. My scouts for many years got to attend the event, and I hope that they did sign up to come see you again. I think I was reading that, yes. Funny story, though, about that. Once we were cleaning up down by Bailey Park, and the boy found a cage that was empty. He goes, "Oh, I found a cage, Mr. O'Donnell." And I go, "Okay." And he goes, "Wait, there's a guinea pig," and it was running away. Someone had dropped off a guinea pig in the woods, unfortunately. The scout took it upon himself to raise that guinea pig for another 4 years. So it was so nice. That's one of the event times I remember there. But so here we are for Crazy for the Kazoo, the Watershed River Cleanup and Conservation Event Day. It's always held on the first Saturday of October in the greater Battle Creek area, and we encourage our neighbors to participate in this worthwhile project to restore the wonderful natural resource that we have in Battle Creek and the beauty that it is in downtown, not just Bailey Park, but along the watershed. And again, this summer I got to actually kayak part of that, and it was very beautiful. It's a different view of Battle Creek. If you ever get the opportunity, please try that. So congratulations.
Chief, could we have you come forward? We have Fire Prevention Week. I think this one's 2 pages long. How you doing, Fire Marshal? I'm going to turn it over to our Fire Marshal. I think he and his new assistant spearheaded this project this year, and we appreciate it.
So this year's theme for Fire Prevention Week is Cooking Safety Starts With You. And over 170,000 approximately structure fires are known to be by cooking fires. And so that is a very high percentage as it represents. This is a very important recognition for the Battle Creek Fire Department. The first proclamation regarding Fire Prevention Week was made in 1920 by President Woodrow Wilson, The first observation was made in 1922. And then in 1871, the background of the Fire Prevention Week was associated with the Great Fire of Chicago, where basically a lady by Mrs. O'Leary, her cow kicked over a lantern in a barn. And because of that, it ended up setting the barn on fire in addition to setting the city on fire. In that event, there were over 250 people that were killed. It covered 17,000 structures that were affected, and also over 2,000 acreage of land that was damaged from the fire. The NFPA, National Fire Protection Association, has since been recognizing, acknowledging Fire Prevention Week. The Battle Creek Fire Department, we are actively involved in presentations next week in observation, going into the schools, talking to the kindergartners and also to other schools as well, emphasizing the importance of fire safety. So we encourage you to do that as well in reflection of the city of Battle Creek. And also, we will be having open house. One open house will be on Wednesday of that week, which is, I believe, the 11th. Will be held at Family Fair from 5 to 8 out in Urbandale, Penfield area, Capitol Ave Northeast. And then the Battle Creek Fire Department will also commemorate with our own Fire Prevention Week open house, which will be held at Fire Station number 2 at 145 North Washington. And that will be on the Saturday of that week. I believe it's the 14th, and that will take place from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So please bring your family and anyone else and help us join in the celebration and the education and that family fun as it relates to Fire Prevention Week.
Quincy, I want to say thank you very much. There'll be a quiz after the city commission meeting if you stick around. That was some really valuable information. I really appreciate that. And all of that is not in this proclamation. So on behalf of the people of Battle Creek, we once again thank you, and we encourage people to participate in Fire Prevention Week in the city of Battle Creek. Get Caught Reading 2023, Commissioner Kathy Wilson, and then Nathan Hunt. Thank you very much for being here. And this is new to Battle Creek this year, and we appreciate your attendance. Could you tell us a little bit about it, Nathan?
Sure. Apologies, Kathy couldn't be here. This is Tanisha Dungy from Willard Library, though. So yeah, the kind of idea behind this campaign is our schools are doing a lot. We've got a lot of supports in our schools. We've got literacy tutors in every elementary school. We've got reading blocks that all of our elementary schools are implementing every day. We've had a huge emphasis on reading, especially post-COVID, where we're trying to help our students get caught up. What we're trying to do here is kind of expand the support for our students out into our community, kind of trying to come up with a fun way for the community to be able to get involved. One way, first of all, I've got to plug our Reading Buddies program for anybody who would be interested in meeting with an elementary student once a week this school year, grades 2 through 4. I've done it the last couple of years. It's just a half an hour. It's a fun time to get to know a student and read with them. Check out our website, battlecreekpublicschools.org/read. I've also got some materials here about the campaign, if I could maybe leave these with somebody. Just some ways to get involved. So Get Caught Reading is a piece of that. We are going to spend this month, it's actually a national campaign that's ongoing throughout the year. Here in Battle Creek, we are going to kick it off this October, this month. You'll see some things in the coming weeks on our Facebook page, on our website. And what we're asking the community to do is basically to help us spread the joy of reading for our students and our community so we can create a culture of literacy here in Battle Creek. To show our students in every grade, one, that reading is cool, reading is fun. We want them to see you, the adults in this community, out reading, and let them know, you know, it's a good activity for any age. So we've got some information here. The way you can participate is to take a picture of yourself reading, post it to social media, use hashtag, what did we say? Hashtag CaughtReadingBC. I lost the hashtag. Check out our Facebook page and we'll have more information. But the general idea, get out there, read publicly, let kids see you, and take pictures and post them on social media. We'd love to have your support.
Great, we're going to let the Vice Mayor conclude with some brief comments.
Thank you. So I won't read the proclamation in its entirety, but it ends with the City of Battle Creek proclaiming the month of October 2023 as Get Caught Reading Month, and encouraging all neighbors to come together as a community to celebrate the profound significance of literacy by reading often and celebrating it publicly. If we can show children in our community that reading can be fun at any age, we can begin to foster a love for reading and enhance educational outcomes for students. I want to say I have both the Hoopla and Libby apps on my phone. Ooh. And right now I'm going through a book about every 3 days. So I love reading, and I cannot encourage folks enough to read to yourself, read to your kids, expand your horizons.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. How about a photo shoot? Thank you very much, City Manager. And this concludes our presentation. One more? Oh, yeah, we do have one more. The Battle Creek Club of the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Clubs. I wasn't able to attend the entire dinner, but I know Commissioner Morris was there, and it looked like she was having a good time. The place was packed. I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Reynolds and Commissioner Morris just to talk a little bit about the event.
Okay. First of all, I just want to say congratulations to the organization, the Battle Creek Club of the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women Club Incorporated. And I want to congratulate my commissioner, my fellow commissioner, for the Social Action Award, and also congratulate Commissioner Monique French for the highest award as Sojourner Truth Award.
And I won't read this whole proclamation either. I'll just read a little bit of it. The Battle Creek Club of the NANBPWC was founded on August 7, 1971 by Ola Collins and organized with the assistance of past National President Robin B. Owens. Local African American women worked to organize this nonprofit organization to encourage, empower, and support women in business and professions. They followed their national program directives with an emphasis on leadership, entrepreneurship, technology, and service, which includes health, education, employment, and economic development clubs. We join with the neighbors of Battle Creek in recognizing the Battle Creek Club of the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Club Incorporated on their 50th annual Battle Creek Club Founders Day and Sojourner Truth Awards banquet celebration, giving thanks for their continued commitment to the Battle Creek community.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is a presentation, and I'm going to turn over to our city manager to make the introduction.
I'm still getting out of my photography issue. So I was happy to take pictures, but I'm not the best photographer, so I'll send out all those pictures who needs them. But it is my pleasure that I get to introduce Pastor Monique French. After we just learned that she earned that high honor, we get to hear about the project that she used the city's ARPA funds for to advance some great things in the Washington Heights neighborhood and for Washington Heights United Methodist Church. So welcome, Pastor French.
Thank you. Well, good evening, Honorable City Commissioners. and to everyone here. My name is Monique French, and I want to thank you for this opportunity to share with you the success of how we use the $360,000 in ARPA funds received from our commission-approved proposal. In our proposal, we shared the Recover Our Neighborhood project led by Washington Heights United Methodist Church and Community, an ambitious initiative aimed at transforming Battle Creek's Washington Heights neighborhood. With focus on revitalizing the housing stock, the project seeks to address the urgent need for accessible and affordable housing options, ultimately creating a vibrant, diverse, and inclusive community where all residents can thrive. This project's objective encompasses a range of efforts, including rehabilitation of existing houses, the construction of new affordable homes, and added amenities, beautification projects with emphasis on increased housing values. By providing accessible and affordable housing options, particularly for vulnerable population, the initiative aimed to meet the pressing need for the community. Recognizing the growing necessity for proactive community engagement, we took the initial step of uplifting our mandate. To get this project started, we submitted a proposal request to the City of Battle Creek for a modest amount. We humbly embarked upon a smaller amount to exhibit our commitment and understanding of the physical restraint given the multitude of pressing needs in our community. Our vision for this project is not simply to make a superficial difference, but to demonstrate the profound impact of targeted initiatives in communal infrastructures and social enhancement. We believe in this project's transformational potential and are hopeful that demonstrating this impact will encourage others to invest in the initiative, thereby fostering a collaborative spirit of community betterment. Here's a brief overview of the accomplishments. We used the funds for acquisition and renovation of an apartment building. With the funds received, we were able to purchase and renovate an apartment building with 4 units. This project has benefited several individuals with the focus of upgrading living conditions and upgrading electrical units, bringing them into code regulations. Notably, 2 previously homeless families now have a safe place in which they can call home. We also used the funds to purchase and to complete some minor renovations on single-family houses. We purchased this house on Avenue B, where we are currently doing minor upgrades and renovations. We also purchased this property on Howland. Some before and after pictures, in which now that it's prepared, a single mother who has up to 3 children can now call this a place of home. We purchased this house on Greenwood Avenue that is located across the street from where we are looking to build 17 new houses. Washington Heights United Methodist Church and Community acquired and provided minor renovations to single-family houses. To assist this effort, we are the recipient of a combined $400,000 in Mission My Hope funds, which will assist with providing energy-efficient repairs for existing homeowners in the Washington Heights neighborhood. Alongside these efforts, we actively participated in community cleanup initiatives and beautification projects, contributing to the overall improvement of the neighborhood. We also purchased the vacant lots in which you just saw. Our team identified and purchased vacant lots in the area and proceeded to clean them up, preparing them for future development. This action not only enhances the aesthetics, but also offers potential space for further community enhancement. In collaboration with the Calhoun County Land Bank, through an established memorandum of understanding, we have fostered a fruitful partnership in collaboration with the Land Bank, providing technical assistance aims to complete an infill housing project. This joint effort will result in the construction of 17 new homes, benefiting the community by providing additional mixed housing options. We are also in partnership with the Battle Creek Public Schools focusing on Dudley and Northwestern. We have also built other partnerships throughout the community. Overall, our endeavors have a substantial impact on the community, both quantitatively and qualitatively, by providing safe housing, renovating properties, engaging in community cleanup, and initiating new housing developments. We have significantly contributed to the betterment of the area by leveraging the ARPA funds. We have made a measurable and positive difference in the lives of the targeted demographic. We remain committed to achieving our mission and continuing to serve the community effectively. In essence, the Recover Our Neighborhood project is more than a resource injection into an underdeveloped community. It is a catalyst series of promising transformation. The key significance of this project lies not only in the immediate benefits like improved housing, but also in long-term potential to catalyst social and economic change that will perpetuate prosperity and inclusivity within the community. As we have witnessed, housing is a crucial aspect of human life, affecting every other vein of existence, from employment to education and mental health to safety. As such, robust housing initiatives are essential for communities struggling with reestablishing their footprint. The Recover Our Neighborhood project acts as a beacon of hope to a hope-fatigued community. I heard Pastor McCoy coin that phrase, hope-fatigued community, and I thought about that and I pondered it. So by delivering quality, affordable housing to those in need, providing an unprecedented sense of belonging within the neighborhood, by actively involving the community, stakeholders such as Washington Heights United Methodist Church, Battle Creek Public Schools, the City of Battle Creek, and Calhoun County Land Bank, this project fosters a spirit of collaborative enterprise and pride among its residents. By setting the stage for sustainable engagement and a pathway to continued growth and development of this stored neighborhood. Moreover, the rehabilitation and beautification aspects of the project deliver a twofold benefit. They not only enhance living conditions, but equally lift the morale and pride of the community. Watching a neglected area being nursed back to its full potential can be a powerful motivator for residents, fueling a passion for collective responsibility and communal enterprise. This project serves as a model for similar initiatives, showcasing what integrated efforts between community stakeholders, supportive government bodies can achieve. As success outcomes unveil, it becomes the impetus for our region that desire to rewrite their own narrative. In conclusion, the significance of the Recover Our Neighborhood project is vast, cross social, economic, and cultural boundaries. It embodies the potential for renewal growth and positive change through community engagement, collaboration, and respect for the local identity and heritage. This initiative shines a light on the resilience and strength of the Washington Heights community, serving as an inspiration for other communities facing similar challenge. This is my report, humbly submitted to you, the Honorable City Commission, residents, stakeholders, and this great city of Battle Creek. Thank you.
Well, let me be the first to say congratulations, thank you, and it was a very thorough report. I know each one of the commissioners are proud of your hard work. I can't wait to see it in person. So thank you very much, Commissioner. Are there any questions or comments by the commission at this time? Once again, Commissioner, like I said, we appreciate your hard work and your leadership. Next item on our agenda is Chair noting any added or deleted resolutions.
There were none.
Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is petitions, communications, and reports.
There were none.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is a public hearing. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
This public hearing is for the purpose of receiving public comment on an application for an industrial facilities tax exemption certificate, IFT, on behalf of Bowers Aluminum Company for the property located at 1401 Shiga Drive, Battle Creek, Michigan, in Industrial Development District Number 2.
I'd like to declare this public hearing open. If you'd like to make public comment on the subject of this public hearing, then please raise your hand and wait for us to acknowledge you, and then come forward to the podium where you will have 3 minutes to make your comments. Please state your name and address before making your comment. Are there any public comments at this time? Mr. Bowers, would you like to lead us off? Or Joe Soborowski, would you like to lead us off? Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. Vice Mayor, Mayor, City Commission, I'm here to support Resolution 256. And I'm not going to get into the specifics of the company or the job creation. I kind of want to go full circle here and talk a little bit about the Fort Custer Industrial Park. We did an economic development or economic analysis of the Fort Custer Industrial Park in 2016. The results of that is that it is an economic engine not only for the city, for the state, but for this region. It has output of billions of dollars annually. And at the time, it nearly had 13,600 employees. We'll probably be redoing this at some point in the near future. But it also generated nearly $5 million of income tax just for the city of Battle Creek. It was producing more than it was capturing. Most of the millages that you see that are captured, either all of them have a pass-through or a portion of a pass-through that helps to continue to support. It has supported the RMTC time and time again. It has supported the airport and continues to support the airport. So full circle here, we did that over a 50-year period with many city commissions. We also, I'm looking at Commissioner Simmons up here. We put in a roundabout too for the nice guard gate. Coming full circle here, we did this as a community, as the city of Battle Creek, in partnership with BCU and attracting these businesses and giving them a signal to continue to invest. We did this over a 50-year period, and we did it one tax abatement at a time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe. Are there any other public comments at this time? Any other public comments? Any commission comments? Commissioner Jake Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'm going to spend some time on this tonight. But before I do, I want to first start off saying, aside from my problems with this, I want to be very clear that I have no problem with Bowers Aluminum. It's not at all about Bowers Aluminum. It's more about, you know, this is a business doing what it can to lower its bottom line. That's your job. You're doing fantastic. It's our job as commissioners to make the right choice for our city. So I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about this right now. And we're going to get into the details here a little bit. And there's 3 points I really want to touch on here. And unfortunately, folks, well, let me back up a second. One of the things I want to mention, too, is we've had a lot of ambiguity as to exactly how many people work here at any point in time. Initially, it was 50, then it was 50 plus 17. Then in 2019, when the PPP loan was forgiven, it was 19. Now it's, on this application, it's 44 plus an additional 17 to be created. And there's a lot of confusion, and that's natural. That's natural in the economy, which should lend itself to why this is such bad policy to pursue, because we're not going to know exactly how many people work at a place at any given point in time. So with that being said, I'm going to launch into my 3 points here, and I'm sorry, folks, my colleagues, but this involves a bit of math. So with that, brought a graphic with me. It is a public hearing, after all. So the first thing I'm going to talk about today is our return on investment. Now, Bowers Aluminum submitted on their application, I believe the ceiling hourly wage was $22 an hour. If you look online at Career Builder, it's 14 to 22. I'm going to go ahead and just round up to 25 for the sake of math, so I'm giving that $3 off the bat. $25 an hour. I'm going to go through, you know, the return on investment here, folks. $25 an hour, 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. That employee is making $52,000. Straightforward. 1% income tax. So another assumption we're going to make here is that everybody lives in the city of Battle Creek and is paying a 1% income tax. And let me back up a minute, too. This is gross, too. So this is all of gross. This isn't adjusted income. $52,000 a year, 1% income tax, that's $520 a year. times 17 employees. That's what's listed here on this application. I don't want to focus on the other two. It is what it is. But this latest abatement is for 17 new jobs. Annually, that 1% is going to generate about $8,840 a year for those 17 employees in income tax revenue. Multiply that by this 12-year abatement. These are 12-year abatements, folks. Now, mind you, this particular facility already has 24 years worth of abatements right now, totaling close to $1 million. The question for us today is a third abatement, bringing it to 36 years and close to just over $1.5 million. Anyhow, back to the numbers. $8,840 of additional revenue per year for those 17 employees. That's easy, you multiply it by 12. This is the net income we're going to receive, the net revenue, $106,000, or pardon me, $106,000 over the course of 12 years. The abatement's going to cost us $468,039, leaving us a net of negative $361,951. Now, I know what folks will say. You know, you're not counting all the other stuff. This will turn green with enough hope, okay? But that's not an investment. We're not making an investment decision at that point, my colleagues. We're making a wish. We're wishing for everything to work out perfectly for 12 years, and we see how that goes, okay? So that's my first point. Now, maybe some of you say, you know, it's not about the ROI. Okay, well, let's look at how tax abatement has affected this city and our partners, generally speaking. Bowers Aluminum pays about half the millage rate of a homeowner for everything except the state education. Half as all of us homeowners are paying. So this abatements have a negative impact not just on our city. This impacts special millages including the police and fire pension. This impacts city street maintenance, Calhoun County the senior millage, the veterans millage, the parks millage, KCC, Willard Library, and every school. These abatements have run amok. Now, to my third point, maybe the ROI isn't for you. Maybe, you know, the other millages, you know, you're not concerned with that. What about just the timing of this? You know, these exemptions were created as a tool to develop jobs, okay? But the unemployment rate in Michigan right now is what, 3.5%? That's darn near full employment. So, are we just do these all the time now? Like, folks, my colleagues, this doesn't make sense, okay? I might be more partial to this when unemployment was high and we really needed to spur this investment, but anybody who's watched the news over the past few years knows we don't have a jobs issue anymore. We have a workforce issue. So I'm going to have some more comments to this when we get down to the actual question on the agenda, but for now I'll leave you with that. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Any other commission comment at this time? Commissioner Patrick O'Donnell.
Sure, thank you. I look at this as the positive approach. Not only say they hire 17 people, we're going to need 12 trucks to deliver his product that hires out other companies to get their money that we're going to get taxes from. Just thinking of that, just a minimum of 12 trucks to deliver that type of aluminum. Restaurants in the area, Big B must think that there's something good going on. They built a Big B out there. I mean, we need to have that type of growth in our area. We're looking forward to that. Families in the area, they're going to benefit because they have jobs. Okay, we think that the cost is at $22 an hour, but if we're at a worker shortage, that's going to raise it up. We're looking at what's going on with the strikes in the automotive. They want more money. That's going to be more on our 1% tax that we bring in. Again, I'm looking at this from the positive approach on this. Restaurants in the area, clothing stores, they got to buy boots, they got to get shoes on their feet to get to work, they got to buy gas stations. The economic development, we're looking at, you know, making that red number to a green number. Even if it was $2 just in the green, it's a positive impact for our community to have those kind of jobs to bring people in. We're looking at affordable housing. If we don't have jobs, why would anybody want to put affordable housing in? I've met with our own state representatives and said, how do we get this to go? We got problems. We got problems with education. We got problems with jobs. We got problems with housing. They couldn't answer. But the thing is we need to take a step forward and go for it, at least get something started. So I'll save the rest for later. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Any other commission comments at this time in the public hearing? Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed. We'll go on to introduction of ordinance. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
The city of Battle Creek was a leader in drafting and adopting regulations allowing for medical marijuana facilities in the city. As time passes, court decisions are issued, and we see other municipalities enacting similar legislation. We are able to find areas where we can improve our processes. This proposed ordinance, number 10-2023, seeks to revise sections 3A, 4A, and H, 6A and D, and 11D of Chapter 833 of City Ordinances, Medical Marijuana Facilities.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the introduction of ordinance 10-2023. Are there any public comments at this time? Yes, David Moore.
I don't know too much about this, really. I'm against all the marijuana that's going, shots coming we got here in Battle Creek. It's an awful lot. It's just taken over the city. I can't support these marijuana places that ain't proven a good thing for Battle Creek. It's not going to help Battle Creek to grow. I just can't support marijuana. I'm sorry.
Thank you, David. Any other public comment for the introduction of ordinance 10-23? Yes, Jerry Steiner.
Good evening. My name's Jerry Steiner, and on this marijuana issue, I'm from the generation where you could get 20 years for a joint. Now, we all know that time bring about a change in everything and everyone. And once the people got past their loathing and apprehension about marijuana and they saw the money flowing, it was a different thing. I understand what Mr. Moore is talking about. Yeah, it's a whole bunch of marijuana joints. But I got to tell you, people who partake in marijuana or who make money from marijuana realize one truth, and it stands in all businesses. If you ain't got a good product, you're not going to last. And because marijuana is so readily acceptable amongst the masses, it brings a lot of revenue. You got people coming from other states, Indiana, places where the marijuana laws are more restrictive. They come here because they know they can get it. But you still got places in America where it's considered a class 1 narcotic. Go figure. I can go buy all the alcohol I want and fall drunk in the streets, and all they'll do is lock me up for the night. But 10 years ago, maybe even 15 years ago, you get sent to prison for a long time for marijuana. If we can't keep an open mind about what some parts of our society likes and partakes in, then we're headed for a dark time. And we're in a dark time now anyway. You know, all I ask people to do is walk in somebody else's shoes. And maybe you'll probably understand exactly how the marijuana issue has seemed to take over America. More than half the states have approved some form of marijuana use. We know even Dr. Sanjay Gupta says it has medical properties. You know, I don't know how any of you feel about it personally, but I think it's an advantage to the community. Anytime it can bring added revenue to a community like Battle Creek. And I want to, thank everybody for, coming out. And Pastor French, her award, well deserved. And all the people that received awards tonight.
Okay, we got to talk about the introduction.
Introduction, what about the introduction? What you talking about?
Well, you're deviating from what the public comment section is for, all right? All right, thank you. You're good if you could continue talking about the...
Well, we ain't got but 8 seconds, So I ain't finna waste your time. I'm gonna do like I always do.
Thank you. I just didn't want you to deviate. Thank you
Well,
very
I'm
much.
gonna probably deviate anyway.
Thank you. Your time's up. Are there any other public comments? Yes, Autumn Smith.
Good evening. I remember some years ago, some of you may have been here, when the marijuana meeting ran until about 3 in the morning. Pizzas were delivered here because we had to take a couple breaks. I don't know if there was a limit on the number of establishments that were allowed and stuff. I support marijuana to a degree, but I am to the point right now where I believe it's running amok in the town. I open my front door and I can smell it. I go around town, I see people vaping in their car. Last time I knew, that was illegal. And I don't see that being enforced. So my thing is how long and how much are we going to do this? Are we just going to let every vacant building become a marijuana dispensary? I just think that there needs to be some pause put forward to this and stuff and thoughts about this, because yes, it is an adult activity. Yes, there are restrictions for it, just like the bars and alcohol and establishments like that. But I just think that too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other public comment at this time? Any commission comment? Commissioner Vice Mayor Sherry Sophia.
Thank you, Mayor. City Attorney Steele, can you kind of, we've got a couple of these ordinance introductions. Can you kind of walk us all through just kind of the Reader's Digest version of what each of these does?
Sure. So I can speak to the first two. The others are zoning, and you'd have to go to them. So in the medical marijuana, and they really, the first two really mirror each other. And it's not anything about increasing the number or decreasing the number. It's really just kind of tightening up some language. So first, we had, a problem with the language about when a permit expires. They expire December 31st. It wasn't explicitly said in the ordinance that, and if you don't renew in the time that you're supposed to, you no longer have the authority to operate. And so that was a problem we found, that people were lingering and not getting it renewed in time and still operating. So that's one thing that's in both of these, that it's automatically suspended on the date it expires unless it's been renewed. And 90 spelled out instead of using the numbers. Some language about the conditional approval permit, again, making clarifications about certificate of occupancy and a conditional approval permit. The other change that is substantive is that we had in here that any kind of a denial, suspension, failure to renew had to come before the city commission. And that can be a pretty lengthy process by the time you get there. And what we discovered is that many municipalities allow that to be an administrative function and then give the right to the permit holder who has been denied, suspended, or had it revoked or not renewed, they can appeal to the city commission. So, we weren't able to make a final decision if somebody was in violation of the ordinance. It had to wait to be able to tell that permit holder you can't operate now, and it might take 3, 4, 5 weeks. So now what we're proposing is that the city manager can do that, and then there's just the right to appeal. So those are pretty much the first two ordinance introductions.
So we're not dealing at all with changing the licenses that we allow. We're not dealing with numbers.
Well, we are allowing for excess grow permits. So that's not the sales, that's growing, and it's zoning will talk about what specific areas that could be in. So that was one I missed, yeah, the excess grow.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Any other commission comment at this time? Seeing not, would you please vote on the introduction of ordinance 10-2023? The introduction of ordinance 10-2023 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is resolution for the introduction of ordinance 11-2023.
As stated earlier, as time passes and as court decisions are issued regarding marijuana, it is prudent for the city to review our cannabis ordinance to find areas where we can improve our process. This proposed ordinance, number 11-2023, seeks to revise sections 3A and B, 4A and H, 6A and D, 7A and 11D of Chapter 835 of City Ordinances, Adult Use Marijuana Establishments.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to introduce ordinance 11-2023. Are there any public comments at this time? Yes, John Kennefick.
John Kennefick, 234 South Avenue. I wasn't going to be speaking on any of the issues until public comment, but I did enjoy Mrs. Steele's interpretation of what's going on here.
Oh, John, let's not personally attack you.
No, I'm just explaining that she informed me while she was talking, otherwise I wouldn't be up here speaking.
Thank you.
It always reminds me of the old joke about what's called organized crime. And they used to do that in the 30s where they were bootlegging and it was illegal. And the government put people behind bars for doing that stuff back in the 30s. They did that for marijuana, and they've changed that too. And what I find interesting about it is sort of like shakedown racketeering, which was a military person that explained that to me. Basically what you're doing is you're tightening up an ordinance and not having it brought in front of the city commission. And here's where my memory came back, not in regards to this issue, but in housing concerns where a housing person had a problem with the government of Battle Creek, and the last step was to go in front of the city commission. And they'd appeal, hey, give me more time, and the process would begin again back then. Well, you eliminated that and dumped it right on the administration, so you wouldn't have to deal with people being thrown out of your houses. This is another effective way of tightening up things. And the word permit always cracks me up. I always find it to be somewhat amusing, especially in this ordinance, because we're going to permit you to do this, and you can't be late, and you got to come up with the money. I thought Al Capone did that with shakedown racketeering, or what would they usually call today in government the protection racket. Thank you.
Any other public comment at this time? Seeing none, are there commission comments? Seeing no commission comments, please vote on the introduction of 11-2023 ordinance. Ordinance 11-2023 has been introduced. Next item on our agenda is the introduction of ordinance 12-2023. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
As staff uses the existing zoning code while working with residents, developers, and city management, various sections of the code have been identified as being unclear, unnecessary, overly restrictive, or warranted consideration for change for other reasons. The intent of these amendments is to correct and clarify language in the code and remove overly restrictive language relating to residential and commercial uses. This proposed ordinance, number 12-2023, is seeking to amend the zoning code of the City of Battle Creek.
So moved.
Support.
So moved and supported to introduce 12-2023 proposed ordinance. Are there any public comments at this time? Are there any public comments? Any commission comments? Commissioner Patrick O'Donnell.
I also, excuse me, I also serve on the Planning Commission. And when we brought this up, it's changing some of the ways that we were having marijuana facilities, restrictions of where they can be placed. One of them that was missed was like near daycare centers and adult foster care, so it does cover that now. So there's going to be less of those near those places. Before it was just schools. So it's defining and bringing rules and order that most communities have with putting up marijuana facilities. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commission comments? Seeing none, would you please vote on the introduction of proposed ordinance 12-2023? The introduction of 12-2023 proposed ordinance has been approved. Final introduction of ordinance 13-2023. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
The City of Battle Creek has been approached by Upholdings LLC out of Lincolnwood, Illinois, with interest in establishing a permanent supportive housing development within the city. Following exploration of multiple potential sites throughout the city, it has been determined by Upholdings that a number of parcels which are the subject of this rezoning request provide not only the necessary space for the development, but also fall within an area in need of services of this nature, while also in a location closely connected to many of the necessary amenities and services needed to support the development. The proposed rezoning of the subject parcels would represent an extension of the T4 downtown commercial district slightly farther to the southeast and would provide the parcels with additional flexibility with regard to residential density and required building setbacks. The T4 district allows for construction from lot line to lot line. This proposed ordinance, number 13-2023, seeking to rezone several properties located along East Michigan, Green Street, and Yuba Street, currently zoned MFR High Density Multiple Family and T3 Neighborhood Commercial District to T4 Downtown Commercial District.
So moved.
Support.
Been moved and supported to introduce ordinance 13-2023. Are there any public comments? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Commissioners and Mayor and Vice Mayor. I was just at that meeting just a little bit ago. I support it, and I talked to them. This has been the second time they've come to us in a number of years. I've done my research. I've been on the COC meeting for a number of years. I'm the homeless representative for the COC. One thing I do support it, it's in a decent area, but it's not big enough. The homeless is growing, not just from inside the Battle Creek area. It's coming from Calhoun County, Albion, Coldwater, Kalamazoo, Jackson. In the last several days, I go out and I have met with several families that are on the street with kids. And I talk to them and tell them what programs there are in this town. We need more of them. We don't need a bunch of people saying, no, we can't build it here, we can't build it there. 5 years ago, we came from this commission to talk to about getting over there by, right across the street from the Federal Center at the old Army base. Nothing's happened with that project. It died. There's other projects coming for us we want to do. We need support, not just from the people outside of our community, also in our own community, especially you commissioners. It's something that we need desperately, very desperately. Homelessness is not no joke. If you want to see what a homeless person goes through in a day, just walk outside your own comfort zone. Walk the streets, walk downtown. It's not a pretty sight. It never has, never will.
Thank you for
God
your
bless
comments.
you.
Thank you for your comments. John?
John Kennefic, 234 South Avenue. When this gentleman spoke, he was speaking about the situation where they were going to build right across from the Federal Center and the Army Depot. Let's go a little further back than that. They were going to build 51 units paralleling Van Buren and West Michigan over by Kendall Street, over by Jordan Street. 51 units. The cost was going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 23 federal tax dollars to build this. Now, it's really interesting, after speaking with and doing research on this matter about Upholdings LLC, they were sort of the general contractor and also being the deed holder of these properties, of these 51 units. Then I spoke with the assistant city manager, and he explained to me what's called the 6% voucher, which means that a homeless person or a person that was low income would only have to pay 6% of the rent. So let's do an economic example. Let's say each rental unit that they were building back then, going to build back then, was $1,000 a month. All the person would have to pay is $60. What happened to the $940 of that rent? Subsidized by the federal government. For some strange reason, which I haven't quite figured out, you guys turned it down. But this is not affordable housing, this is subsidized housing, and there's a big difference there between the two. You rejected the one and failed that one. You rejected the one that was supposed to be across from the street of Federal Center, and now they got a new proposed unit. I'm very interested in looking forward to seeing what kind of economic games that will be going on here, subsidized, because that is usually the pattern of Upholdings LLC. I don't oppose affordable housing, but in our market today, you can't build a house and then sell it or rent it for less than what you were originally taking in. It would take too long, and no investor would do that. HUD, Housing Urban Development, has failure after failure after failure for the last 70 years. And you're basically reinventing the broken wheel. Even though I'd like to see how you're going to solve this problem, I don't think economically you can do it without taxing the hell out of the taxpayers to afford to pay for this. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? Autumn Smith.
Thank you. I support helping homeless people, but there's a huge issue going on. We are being flooded with homeless people from our open border. 2 words, hyphenated, Cloward Pivens. Look it up. That is what is going on. So, while we do have a homeless issue, it's only going to increase. There has already been tens of thousands of people that have crossed illegally. These are not migrants. These are illegal immigrants. There is a correct way and an improper way to get across the border. With no border, we have no country. If you want to look at what's going on and why we're having this influx of
Autumn, I'm going to ask that you address the issue.
I am. I'm getting to 13-2023 because all of these housing subsidies and rezoning and stuff could be going towards illegal immigrants. And that is un-American. And I do not want my tax dollars funding it. And if you don't believe me, you can go to Indeed.com, go to the search box, search in refugee resettlement, and there are organizations that are funding this and are doing it with our tax dollars. So while I think it's helpful to help the homeless situation, what are we doing to ensure that it's the citizens of our area that are benefiting from this, whatever the subsidy may be, whatever the rezoning reasons may be? Because I'm all for helping people, giving a hand up, but not giving a hand out. There's a big difference. So I want to make sure that while this is going on, it is not going to support the open borders and the people that are crossing the country illegally. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. My name's Lee Talmadge. I live at 812 West Highland Boulevard here in Battle Creek. I'm the Executive Director of the Battle Creek Housing Commission. I just want to echo the gentleman earlier who spoke to you about how great the need is we have here in Battle Creek for housing homeless people. Just a few points. The subsidy that these low-income families or individuals, previously homeless individuals receive is 30% of their income. The support services that they will provide receive from the partners that are involved in this will help them to stabilize and to raise their income. It's 30%, it's not 6%. The benefit to us as a community is that this low-income housing tax credit deal will help us to leverage more of these deals that will serve affordable housing for workforce development and mixed income situations. I believe this is something that's been a long time coming to our community, and I applaud those of you who are support it. If you have any questions, please feel free to get a hold of me, and I'd be happy to answer any of those for you.
Thank you for your comments, Lee. Thank you very much. And yes, David Moore.
I don't hope I'm not off kilter on this. I go down West Michigan, a lot of these streets through town. There's nothing on. We tear down a business or tear down a house and put nothing in its place. It's just almost go down West Michigan, just nothing, no houses, nothing down there. If we go bolting these things down and we can't find places for them, it's a shame to see all these places going down West Michigan and other side, this side of town, go down these streets and see no houses down there, nothing's being built, no replacements or nothing. That's just, I may be off kilter what I'm saying here, but hope I'm getting something on it. But that's what I have to say, I guess.
Thank you, David. Are there any other comments? Seeing none, any commission comments? Commissioner Patrick O'Donnell.
I'm all for this building down there on Michigan Avenue. It's quite a vacant area. It's been neglected for quite some time. I'm glad to see that there's going to be some type of investment down there. Not only just housing, but it's also going to be commercial development. So some of our smaller businesses could actually have some storefront frontage down there and showcase some of our more eastern part of our city. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commission comments? Commissioner Ballard.
Thank you, Mayor. Just like to remind people when they come up to speak, please give your name so we know who you are and what your address is. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commission comment? Seeing none, would you please vote on the introduction of 13-2023 proposed ordinance? The introduction of proposed ordinance 13-2023 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is public comment regarding consent agenda and resolutions not on the consent agenda. If you'd like to make public comment regarding the consent agenda and resolutions not on the consent agenda, please raise your hand and we will acknowledge you to come forward to the podium. You will have 3 minutes to make your comments. Please state your name and address before beginning your comment and indicate which resolution you are speaking to. Are there any public comments? Yes, Autumn Smith.
Good evening, Autumn Smith, Massachusetts Avenue. Resolution number 256, I believe that was the thing that Commissioner Jake Smith commented on, the public comment, or the public hearing, excuse me, for the tax exemption. If I was paying attention right, of the assumption, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not speaking on your behalf, but you're probably not in favor of this. Yes, Captain Obvious here. So I would like to say I've been a tax-paying citizen for 9 years. I've never got a tax abatement. I too contribute to gas and driving on the roads and to small businesses and large businesses. And I am here to put on the record, I would like a tax abatement for being a tax-paying citizen and doing my duty and paying taxes. I was always taught if you can't afford to follow the rules or AKA pay the fee, which would be taxes, then you shouldn't be doing business in that area. Kind of like the monopoly thing, do not pass go, do not collect $200, do not do business if you cannot pay the fee. especially when he did simple math, and math was not my major in college or my strong suit, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to do the math that Commissioner Smith was able to do. I've come here year after year, meeting after meeting, and I saw you guys hand out tax abatements like candy, and people have promised jobs, promised things, and it usually falls through a lot. I don't see why there's not an issue where if you say, okay, if you can prove to us that you are going to produce these jobs and produce this business and this, economy for us, then come back to us in 2 or 3 years and maybe we can give you a tax rebate to show you for what you did. We can go retroactive, but why should we give you the benefit of the doubt on a maybe, on a possibly, on a could? I might not be able to pay my taxes next year or the year after, and I could end up in the land bank if I don't. But I don't get any credit for the 9 or 10 years that I've paid them on time. I've even tried to pay them early and you guys won't take my money. So I'm going to put on the record right now, I would like a tax abatement for my personal property taxes because I contribute to this community and I am, a working person and I use the roads, I buy gas, all the reasons that Commissioner O'Donnell stated they should get a tax abatement, I do too. But I'm not up here begging year after year. This is the first time I'm saying that. I may be able to pay my taxes, I may not. But I know I contribute to the tax base here in town. I know I contribute to businesses here in town regardless. I'd like a tax break. Where's my abatement? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. David Moore.
My name is David Moore. And I'd like to comment a little bit about what Jake was saying up here. Like, we got a choice. Support this people, paying them their jobs, or cutting away their jobs. Like, we get in that one or the other. Like, we got a choice, or you got to pay a person for a day's work, or have to pay them welfare. Guess that's what I understand of it. I guess that's what we're coming down to, what we have to do with these companies. What do you want to do? You want to pay welfare, or do you want to pay these people for working? I'm not going to say yes or no, I'm for or against it. Looks like to me we're up to a big choice here.
Thank you, David. Any other public comment at this time? Yes. John Kennefick.
John Kennefick, 234 South Avenue. Was a famous philosopher who said that a tax abatement is where a business applies for something that they should have gotten in the first place without ever applying. Now, what usually happens in a tax abatement, Otto Smith is correct. That $361,000, aluminum doesn't have to pay that. That will be passed on to the taxpayers. It'll be passed on for the citizens in the form of, say, tax bond schedules, where you give lots and lots of cost increases over the 63 pages that you can choose from and add new ones. The biggest problem here is that you're not operating efficiently, so this wouldn't happen in the first place. What is more important than the tax abatement and having businesses that actually create wealth in the environment? Failed amusement parks, failed arenas. Those get the taxpayer money. You don't explain that. That's a high priority over everything else, especially creating business. Now, what does business do? That's the private sector. Without the private sector, there is no other sector. Nothing. Because every private sector is the one that creates wealth, unless it's normally not making a product and basically got their snout in public treasuries. That's what I can tell you on that one. But they may go somewhere else, aluminum, somewhere where it'll be a little bit more affordable. I'm for the aluminum place being here, but they shouldn't have to get a tax abatement because the entire situation shouldn't be in the place where you'd have to be deciding that. They'd automatically get it because they're only looking at their bottom line, and you would too if you were the president of the company. And that's 17 other people or whatever like that that will be in Battle Creek, instead somewhere else. Thank you.
Any other public comment at this time? Seeing none, Any? We'll move on to commission comments.
Mayor?
Yes.
Address this to the city manager. What recourse do we have when these companies don't do what they say they're going to do?
Do you want me to go ahead and answer that now, or do you want to wait?
Let's wait till 2:56. I'm sorry, I lost my place. This is commission comment regarding meeting business.
Okay.
So moved.
Support.
Okay. So now we're on the consent agenda, and there's been a motion to approve and support. Are there any comments by the commission? Seeing no comments, please vote on the approval of the consent agenda. The consent agenda has been approved. Next item on our agenda is resolution number 255. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
A solicitation was issued August 23, 2023, seeking proposals for firefighters' personal protective equipment, or PPE. The PPE includes turnout gear, jackets and pants, boots, helmets, hoods, and gloves. This equipment is essential for firefighters, and it is worn when responding to emergency calls and is designed to protect them from the heat, flames, and other hazards associated with firefighting. This resolution seeks acceptance of the proposal of best value for personal protective equipment for firefighters from Municipal Emergency Services Incorporated for a term up to 5 years.
So moved.
Support.
So moved and supported to approve Resolution 255. Are there any comments by the commission? Seeing no comments, please vote on Resolution 255. Resolution 255 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 256. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
On August 25, 2023, an application was submitted on behalf of Bowers Aluminum Company for an industrial facilities tax exemption certificate under Act 198 of the Public Acts of 1974 as amended, with respect to certain industrial properties set forth in the application located within the boundaries of Industrial Development District Number 2, established by Resolution 345 on December 2, 1975. Bowers Manufacturing proposes to construct a 40,000 square foot expansion facility to be used for fabrication, mechanical finishing, maintenance, and a tool room at their Shiga Drive location in Fort Custer. This resolution approves an industrial facilities tax exemption certificate on behalf of Bowers Aluminum Company for a real property addition located at 1401 Shiga Drive in Industrial District Number 2 and having an estimated cost of $2,570,000.
So moved.
Support.
So moved and supported to approve Resolution 256. I'd like to call upon the city manager to answer Commissioner Ballard's question.
Yes, thank you. If a company who has approved tax abatement does not meet the criteria that was set forth, it can be revoked after a period of time. 2 years, I believe, in talking with the city attorney, the commission could revoke it if they have not met their application information.
Okay. I believe Commissioner Smith brought up that they've had abatements in the past,
Yes,
and did they satisfy those needs?
satisfy the needs of the tax abatement itself as approved by the commission, yes.
And did they have employees that they had to hire, and did they maintain those employees up to this point?
That is reported on annually for them, and they have set aside what their employee numbers are, but like other employers in the city, they struggle with keeping employees and getting employees in positions. But yes, 60 is the last reported number of jobs, which exceeds what was proposed in the application.
So the 44 and 17 is your 60, as you're talking about?
Yes.
And so you have 60 employees now, is that correct?
That's a question I cannot answer. I'd have to defer to Joe and/or Bowers.
Okay. And are we going to be adding 17 more?
You may need to come up to the microphones.
If you wouldn't mind, John, yes.
I'm John Bowers, 10956 North Interlaken, pardon me, Richland, Michigan. I don't know where to begin. I don't think anybody in this room, with the exception of Jim Bush, Joe Soborowski, and Mayor Benke, knows who I am or knows my background. And am I allowed to ask commissioners a question?
No, but we need to concentrate on answering Commissioner Ballard's question.
Oh, that's the
which
only
is-
thing you want to hear?
Right, that's,
Oh, we have 60 now, and if you want me to guarantee that I'm going to have 17 more, I can't possibly do that, but we will need between 10 and 20 more employees to fulfill some new contracts we have with Herman Knoll Furniture, or Miller Knoll, it used to be Herman Miller, and a company called Sub-Zero Refrigerator. That's all I can tell you. If you want a guarantee, I'm not going to give you a guarantee. We work our hardest to hire people, and we will get into that later. You have no idea how challenging it is to hire employees today. You simply don't. And I don't think anybody here, with possible exception of Mayor Benke, employs people. So that answers your question.
thank you, John, I appreciate your help.
Mayor, could I make a clarification, please? The commission would make a recommendation to the State Tax Commission for a revocation. It isn't solely at the discretion of the commission, again, because a lot of this language is at the state level. So whatever decision the commission decides does go to the state for consideration, and ultimately they're the ones that grant the abatement.
Thank you, City Manager. Any other commission comments at this time? Yes, Commissioner Jake Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay. This is not an indictment of what Bowers is doing. This is an indictment of how inefficient and ineffective this tool is for job creation, specifically at this time when we have nearly full employment. The original application for this facility included 50 employees. When it came up for their second abatement a few years ago, they reported 17, and I think the commission at that time voted 5-4. They were pretty split on it. Now, the application says you have 44 and plan to hire 17. Now, it's not what it says on the application, sir. Excuse me, I'm speaking. Anyhow, so you capture all that together and you say to yourself, gosh, that really lends itself to the fact that this is a very difficult thing to invest, to make an investment on. And it's because we're not making an investment. We're making a wish that all these things happen contrary to what you see in the numbers. Now, that really should, and Mr. Bauer said it himself too, he doesn't have a jobs problem, he has a workforce problem. We need laborers here. We need folks who can do the work. Now is not the time for tax abatements to create more jobs that we can't possibly fill because we don't have the labor for it. And by the way, we're going to rob from our schools, our libraries. We're going to take everything from police and fire pension, from senior millages, veteran millages, to accommodate this thing we just don't need and has been proven inefficient and ineffective. But you guys already know how I feel about this. What I'm going to leave with here today is words from the Upjohn Institute for Employment Research. We're all familiar with that. This is the Upjohn Institute publication from 2019, Making Sense of Incentives, Taming Business Incentives to Promote Prosperity by Timothy Bartik. That's a citation. And again, this is the Upjohn Institute. This is some fringe economic development, think tank or something. And I'd be happy to share this, by the way. And I'm going to share two quotes. First, at least 75% of the time, incentives are all costs, no job creation benefits. And these incentive costs will require increased state and local taxes or higher state and local public spending, either of which will have a negative impact on the economy. That's the first. The second, a lot of folks, you hear this in the economic development game, you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. One or two, of these things don't work. We just found out 3 out of 4 of them don't work. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And they comment on that as well. And I'm quoting, there is little danger of incentives being eliminated. It's just not going to happen. A more likely danger is that long-term tax incentives to corporations will be unwisely expanded. We are considering our third abatement for 36 years, $1.5 million, and we haven't met the first jobs goal of 50 employees. Okay. Will be unwisely expanded to the point where they threaten needed public services and significantly redistribute income to the wealthy. The baby is in no danger. What's in danger is the house flooding from the overflowing bathwater. Folks, this doesn't work. It's plain as day. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Are there any other commission comments at this time? Commissioner O'Donnell.
Yes. As I think about this, when you buy a home, I hear people talk about when they buy a home, they go, hey, I made the owner pay closing costs. Kind of like an abatement, getting started, moving into a home. There's a benefit there. They make it sound like, oh, I did something over the old homeowner, but that's not what it is. The homeowner felt well enough that they wanted to give up some of their profit to help this person out and get a house and move in. I mean, you look at that kind of a business deal. This is what it is we're trying to give a little bit of our investment back to somebody that's proven jobs, proven that he can run a business. He had a business before he came here and sold it, decided to come back into business and build in Battle Creek out of all places, because we've got Battle Creek Unlimited that gave him a nice opportunity to put his business somewhere, to hire our local employees that will actually visit our areas. It's not just the 17, 16, you're looking at these numbers, it's the outstretch of what they buy outside their bed sheets to cover their children when they go to bed at night, shoes on their feet. That's a job. It's hard to put that away. You're looking at $400,000 over 12 years of, that's the tax that we're giving away, only $400,000. That's over 12 years. I think we can be able to make that up with these purchases, these events that help beautify our city. But want people come to work at the Fort Custard and have a job. We are looking for employees, and maybe they're going to get that. I look at education. I don't know, Mr. Bowers, do you encourage some of your employees to go to the RMTC down the road that KCC has to teach them more manufacturing skills to learn and to better themselves in the future? If you want, you can come up and answer that for me if you're able to. I would think you would, but I want to hear it. Don't you want to better our community and education-wise of your employees to help them move your business forward in the future? You may not be there forever. Oh, please go ahead.
My name's Jim Bush. I'm the president of Bowers Aluminum. I take care of all that kind of thing, and I can tell you that in the past we have sent some of our employees over to the facility to get some education. I think the important thing to remember here is, yeah, we're asking for a favor in getting an abatement, but you got to look at our underlying thing that's trying to be achieved here. We employ a lot of people. We employ 60 people at the present time. We did have the good fortune in the last year to bring on 2 big accounts that will, for us in the next year, not quite double our business in that year, but certainly over the next several years. And what we're going to have to do is hire people. Now, you look at it as 60 employees. I look at it as 60 families. There's a lot of people that we'll end up feeding, okay? We'll take care of a lot of those people. We're different from a corporation. We're a privately held company, okay? We care about community. We care about the people that work for us. We do a lot of things that other corporations wouldn't think of doing. We support those people that work for us. And without them, we can't grow our business. If you're not growing your business, you're dying. If you're not growing your city, it's going to die. So it's very simple.
I have another question for you. Do you support local events in the area? Do you give back some of your, well, I say profits to invest back into the citizens for? Oh my gosh, but you're doing great. Because you're hiring 60 people. No, I understand what you're saying. And you get this, you're losing money, but you're still getting there fighting out, making sure 60 families get health care?
We have health care.
You subsidize some of that?
Of course we do.
Of course. I've seen my health care, my employer subsidize it. I'm so happy that I have that. That's what makes me happy, that you're here to give health care to 60 families.
we've paid over $2 million, or will pay over $2 million to our employees for both their health care and their salaries that they enjoy. You know, some of the things that are negative that you look at, I look at it as all positive from where I sit. But we had the good fortune at the other facility that we used to have when John decided to buy it, or build it, excuse me. We had the good fortune of building that company up to 365 employees, okay? We also had the good fortune of people giving us abatements as we go, as incentives for us to try to build our business and invest more money. This money isn't coming out of some fluff. This money's coming out of this man's back pocket. He's putting his hard-earned money back into your community so that we can grow a business and employ people.
Another question, you said that there's a contract for chairs. Was that right? Or what was furniture or something earlier? There's a contract that you got for.
We have two large accounts, as John mentioned. One is a company over in Milwaukee, or excuse me, in Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, called Sub-Zero Refrigeration. They make high-end refrigeration. We're a niche person in the marketplace for producing products for people. So we're a very good candidate for them. They were my largest account at my other facility. And we hope to enjoy that kind of business level with them again. And they've grown exponentially since we last did business with them. The other company is Miller Knoll. They are office furniture people here in the state of Michigan. And we also had the good pleasure of doing quite a bit of business with them at the other facility. So we're very fortunate to have brought these guys on. We have had to invest another $1 million out of the back pocket over here to be able to bring in the equipment that it takes to support that kind of effort. So it's not like we're not putting money into trying to grow this business and make it work. And I'll say it again, if you're not growing your business, it's dying. And if you're not letting companies like us do our best to try to build your community, you're going to die.
It sounds like to me that people are purchasing your product, and then they must have offices that want to fill with the furniture that you've got. So
Absolutely.
there's other people out there that you touch every day, not just here, but around and the community.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to say thank you for that. And like you said, you've proven all the years of your development over there in that area, and proven again that you want to expand and stay here. So I want to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
I'm done with my comments.
Thank you. Any other commission comments?
Mayor, I have a couple. Jim, you mentioned Miller Knoll. Is any of your clients or customers more than 30% of your business?
At this point, we have no account that's 30% of our business.
Okay, good. There's a danger point in my mind. That's the reason I asked that.
No, we did last year $6.8 million in business. Our largest account was just under $1 million.
Cool.
This year we hope to do in the neighborhood of $8.6 million. Next year I hope to do in the neighborhood of $14 to $16 million.
One last question. Can you elaborate a little bit for me for the company that you owned in Kalamazoo and closed that company, or am I getting my messages mixed up?
No, we sold that. John sold that company.
He just sold it?
Yes.
Okay.
Sold it outright.
Okay, it didn't close? Okay.
No, it was a very strong, financially strong company.
Good, okay, thank you.
Any other commission comment? Commissioner Simmons.
Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for your continued investment in our community. You know, I don't disagree that this not the greatest system that we have as far as tax abatements. That is the tool. It's not something we created here at the City Commission. The tax abatement system, I mentioned public acts of whatever, that we follow. Those are the tools that the state of Michigan gives us, and so we're operating within that framework. Do I wish we had lower taxes across the board for everyone so we didn't have to, in order to help a business get started, give abatements? Yeah, I absolutely wish. And I wish we would all lean on our state representatives, our state leadership, to change that system if we don't like it. And again, wouldn't be my preference. Joe Soborolski mentioned new main gate, and I actually had to do a site visit out to our new main gate at the roundabout in Fort Custer there at Skyline and Hill-Brady Road today. And so I decided to do the Great Circle tour of the airport, 10 miles, by the way. And as I was doing this Great Circle tour around the airport to get to my site and then in the opposite direction on the way back, just taking in the massive amount of investment that's in our community. Now, is it all due to tax abatements? Absolutely not. That is a tool that we are given, that we are being asked to execute here tonight from the state. I was looking at the full parking lots. I think it was mentioned something like 13,000 people who work. Most, if not all of those developments at some point or another probably ask for a tax abatement. I'm certainly one. We actually used to have a tax abatement committee here on the city commission. Do we still have that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't believe I serve on that currently. We haven't had a meeting, or at least I haven't been invited. But that was great because we had a big spreadsheet that was put together for us, and like, here's where all of our tax abatements stand and the progress that was made toward the hiring goals. Do every once in a while these things fail? I remember voting for a tax abatement for United Solar Ovonic, and they flopped. They were going to make solar panels out there on in the fort. Do we need a mechanism to claw that back? Well, if they've gone out of business, it's kind of hard to do that. So those things happen, but we try. And I appreciate your investment. I'm supportive of this. Again, I wish we had a different system. And there has been several points about residents not being able to get tax abatements. That's incorrect. We have a program called Neighborhood Enterprise Zones. If you have a home or you buy a home, and that tax is frozen at its current value, you put an improvement into the home, and then you're still paying the lower tax rate. So there are mechanisms out there for residents if you live in the certain zones, and I know the city has the ability to create other zones. And the final point that I guess I really want to address is that this is not a zero-sum game. In order to give someone a tax abatement, we don't have to take from someone else. This is growth. We are growing the pie here. And looking at these numbers, I see Bowers Aluminum is actually, correct me if I'm wrong, city manager, city leadership, actually a net increase to the income coming into the city. Is that correct?
Correct.
So we're not taking away from city programs, the schools, the police and fire. Actually adding to that, we're growing the pie, and then ultimately, when your tax abatement's up, then the cap is lifted and you're paying the maximum amount. We hopefully at that point your business is profitable, and I know there are a lot of companies in the industrial park and throughout the city that we've given tax abatements in the past. Those have expired, and now they're on the full tax roll and contributing significantly to the economy and our communities. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commission comments? All right. This is your last time, right? All right.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You spoke very eloquently earlier.
Great. It was very
Thanks.
heartwarming. I love it. But I would like to return to the facts here for a moment. We're not talking about giving away a tax abatement. We're talking about giving away our third tax abatement. These things are 12 years a pop. That's 36 years worth of tax abatements. Pardon me,
All right,
sir, I'm
John,
speaking right now.
John.
Our third tax abatement, 36 years total, over $1.5 million. It's not like we haven't given this thing a chance. The initial application to build the original facility was for 50 employees. The most recent application, that's before us today, says 44. maybe another 17, maybe 60. I don't know what the economy is going to be like. Nobody in this room knows what the economy is going to be like in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years. This is simply a bad tool for development. And even if it wasn't, this is a triple dip. Guys, the Bowers folks, I have a lot of respect for. You're clearly good at your business. That's your job. You're doing great in seeking every opportunity to lower the bottom line, as a good business should. Our job as commissioners is to deploy effective and efficient, transparent public policy to these type of matters. And the numbers don't lie. What we're banking on here is a bunch of wishful thinking that in the past has been coined voodoo economics. We're hoping that maybe at some point other things will happen. And I'm not willing to leverage the taxpayer dollar that could be fixing sidewalks, that could be filling our fire and police pension, that could be doing any number of things on a third dip in this case. And again, this is nothing against Bowers Aluminum whatsoever. This is an indictment of the tool. It's an ineffective tool, and to go back to the well a third time for it at this point is shame on us. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor, please.
Thank you. So I guess I'm a little confused by Commissioner Smith's comments. And maybe, City Manager, you might be able to clarify. So I thought, what I heard Commissioner Smith just say is that money should be used for something else, for other city priorities, other city projects. What I thought I heard you say to Commissioner Simmons was that we are still getting funds.
It's a net gain.
It's a
I think
net,
If
yes.
I'm understanding, yes, that's what I was
Okay.
responding to, Commissioner Simmons. That's correct.
Okay, so maybe Commissioner Smith means that we're not getting as much as we could. Is that inaccurate?
Let's hold it again.
Okay, so, and then with regard to accountability, so I recall as well the abatement committee, and I think that there was a report, I think, can you talk about, like, how do we check and balance and make sure that when we're giving an abatement, that the companies that we're giving an abatement to are living up to their end of the deal?
Yep, so they are required to submit annual reports. And to Commissioner Simmons's comments, that spreadsheet is actually on the city's website. It's abbreviated a little bit because it got so big, but you can go out there and see every abatement, where it's at, and the most recent data that we have. We rely on the assessor's office to gather that information on an annual basis. And that's the determination and the check and balance, that are they meeting the parameters at this particular time based on that. Now remember, that's how the tool is written at the state. You know, so clarification is this isn't a city tool, this is a state tool that you are tasked with consideration in the community as an economic development tool. I wanted to also say that the abatement time frame is not consecutive. So yes, if the commission were to grant, you know, this abatement, it's not a consecutive 36 years. It starts and ends at the time the application is completed, and then when the project is completed. So I just wanted to clarify that that's not consecutive years.
Okay, thank you. I guess I would just like to say I appreciate your investment. To Commissioner Smith's comment about this being your third time at the well. Good for you. I mean, you've found a way to make your business work, and as long as you keep being successful and you keep meeting the parameters that are set forth in the abatement, I think that it's fantastic that you're here, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Are there any other comments? Commissioner O'Donnell.
Commissioner Simmons, thank you for reminding me of the enterprise zones. One other thing, us as homeowners in the state of Michigan, we did get a tax abatement, the Headley Amendment. Thank goodness our state thought of something like that, because you talk about people in other states right now, the property values which through the roof, and they're paying more in property taxes than we are. At least we're capped enough where we can afford that increase over time instead of immediately coming right out of our paycheck. So there's a tax abatement that's shared by everybody, so thank you for reminding me.
Okay, are we prepared to vote? Please vote on Resolution 256. Resolution 256 has been approved. Thank you for your investment in Battle Creek. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 257.
The employment agreement between the City Commission and City Manager Rebecca Fleury states that the City Commission shall complete an evaluation of Ms. Fleury's job performance on a biannual basis. This resolution recognizes the City Manager's overall performance rating of 4.0035 exceeds expectations pursuant to the terms of Section 5 of the employment agreement between the City Manager and the City Commission. Passage of this resolution will result in the City Manager receiving a 4% bonus effective immediately.
So moved.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve Resolution 257. Are there any comments, questions, or clarifications by the Commission? Vice Mayor, do I see you ready to say something?
Thank you, Mayor. The committee did meet, and I appreciate my colleagues filling out the evaluation form, senior staff, community partners, and helping us to evaluate the job that our city manager is doing. She did exceed expectations, and as such, it was decided that we decided on the bonus, and I appreciate the hard work and the good feedback. I think that you got a lot of good feedback in the comments on those evaluations. Some things to work on and work toward, and some things where you're doing just an outstanding job. So I appreciate you all working to make this process as seamless and as smooth as possible.
Thank you very much. Jake, do you have something to say?
Yes, I'll just like to say that after 6 years at the county too, and I know nothing there, but I would just like to say how impressed I am with Rebecca. It's been a pleasure to work with you, and you absolutely earned this, so thank you.
Any other commission comments at this time? Seeing none, I would just like to say that, Rebecca, I appreciate your opportunity to understand your job and do it to the best of your ability. I like the decisions you make when you have that responsibility, and they're very effective. And I think this commission and this city are being very well served as our city manager. And thank you very much. All right, would you please vote on Resolution 257? Resolution 257 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is general public comment. If you'd like to make a general public comment regarding matters over which the City Commission has control, please raise your hand and wait for us to acknowledge you, and then come forward to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to make your comment. Please state your name and address prior to beginning your comment. All right, we're going to go way back in the corner, Mary. And next will be the gentleman in the red coat and the red hat.
Mary Bourgeois, 231 Springview Drive. So I landed in Battle Creek to receive services from the Battle Creek VA Medical Center, and I could be any place in the entire world, and I choose to live in Battle Creek because y'all are so dedicated to making this a wonderful place. Specifically, I would like to recognize Miss Fleury. I request information and she replies within a week. Miss Hauser, she's sending out information to election workers about absentee voting and early voting and collaboration with the surrounding communities. Keep up the good job. Mallory Avis, the director of Battle Creek Transit. She was at a meeting at 11:30 and she had a child at 12 o'clock that same day. That's pretty impressive. And finally is Corporal O'Brien. I'm in NPC 2 and my cop is Corporal O'Brien. And there are people in my neighborhood who choose to burn things, and I send an email to Corporal O'Brien and she'll reply back in 20 minutes. I'll go check it out. Thank you for letting me know. So again, I say thank you to all you. Battle Creek is a lovely place to live because of your diligent service to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. We really appreciate your comments. Yes, sir. I believe this is Bobby Holly.
Yeah, it is. All right. It's the peaceman. It's peaceman.
A few weeks ago, community activist Bobby Holly was down here from 160 Wall Baskin Road. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners, we're down here talking about the Peace Man. Well, decided the Peace Man better come down so you can see what the Peace Man is all about. He's about making safer communities for all of us, but it takes all of us together to help do that. Be out in the streets fighting against crime, gun violence, and killings in Battle Creek. The state police, our city police, our Penfield police, and all the rest of the officers will be looking out for me, but they're already on board with this commitment. We'll be carrying the casket, which stands for death. This red outfit that you see on stands for blood that's been shed by innocent victims. The black mask stands for peace and justice. So when you see this mask and all this outfit out here, out there, out in the streets and in the communities, just remember, the peace man is out here trying to help, and you can help, and everybody else can help too. So the peace man is against gun violence. The peace man is against killings in our community. So I must leave you now, because the peace man has a job to do. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bobby. We appreciate you very, very much. Are there any other? Yes, sir. Right here in front.
I appreciate how patient all of you have been. My name is Douglas Baker, 241 Orleans Avenue. Last summer, as some of you know, there was some construction or reconstruction or repair done to our sewer lines running from the street to the houses. On my block, it all went horribly wrong. They ended up having to dig up the entire street and several of our yards. Unfortunately, this is a selfish request. My yard still looks like junk. People from the company that had worked on it, on that project, came back, sprayed grass down. Some of the best crops of weeds I've ever seen in my life. They were outstanding. But my yard still just looks terrible. It didn't look like a golf course, don't get me wrong, and I wouldn't expect that it should look like a golf course because that's not what it was before. But all along my road, almost the full length of my property, and also a portion of my curb has been broken down. I've got it so that when it rains, the dirt doesn't get down on the road anymore. I've tried to work on the thing. I was in a bad car accident 3 years ago. There's a lot of stuff I cannot do, but I'm here to ask if there is any help that the City Commission can require the companies that worked on this to come back and actually do some decent work.
Sir, I got your address, 241 Orleans. I'm going to make sure the city manager has it. We'll get it taken care of.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it. Are there any other public comments at this time? Yes, David.
Livermore, I could comment on this business here. You know, these businesses like marijuana, they got a lot of business going on, and they profit well, and they do very great. They go out there and get real successful with their work, and here we are, and on top of that, get a nice tax break, a tax break on that, on top of that. And here's a poor man paying taxes, and the ones that get the short end, and the ones that pay the price for all this. The guys get on these drugs and once they get sick and once they're dying, they're ruined, their lives get ruined. As he says, once again, on these tax breaks, it's the rich man gets the benefit and the low-class man gets the short end and a butt end of the deal.
Are there any other public comments? Yes, ma'am, in the back?
My name's Henrietta McLaughlin. I'm at 221 Post Avenue. So I have a concern. A week and a half ago, I arranged for a meeting with my director to tell them that they had the right to effectively fire me because I can no longer do my job as it is wrote or expected due to all the issues with transit. The people that these are affecting, I listen to the jobs and the housing and the this. Where are people going, how are people going to do these things? I wanted to be a grandmother and do things with my grands. I can't even take a bus anymore because we canceled Saturday. And I was okay with that. Take a PTO time, catch the bus after work, after they get out of school. The last bus in my neighborhood goes through at 3:15. It leaves downtown. I was born with a visual impairment. I cannot drive. It's not by choice I ride bus. It's because it's needed. It's effectively cut me off and put me back into my home. To stay employed, I have the opportunity, and my doctor likes it, I get to walk from Save a Lot back to Post Edition 2 nights a week. 2 nights a week until the move is complete. I get to walk from Glen Cross to Post Edition because I refuse to become a burden on my children or my family, anybody. I have drivers from transit that are going back into the neighborhood to pick the people up that are now that could possibly lose their jobs. And I keep hearing we're short CDL drivers, da-da-da. I get it. What I don't get is the use of some of these resources that they say aren't here. We can hire part-time drivers and run them while we have full-time drivers because they get a guarantee not working. I'm not saying bring everything back because I'm not totally unrealistic, but I would like to keep my job. I would like to be a grandmother. That's all I want. I get all the job, I get it. But I just watched an 11-year-old boy this morning.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, your time's up, but if you leave your name and number on a card in the back, I'll make certain that the appropriate person calls you from transit.
Yeah, you did that one day after I asked you not to give them my number, and you did, and they did.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate your comments. I'm very sorry. Are there any other public comments? Autumn?
Good evening, Autumn Smith, Massachusetts Avenue. I want to thank Rebecca Fleury, Ted Deering's not here, John Hart. They had a meeting with me about the Pfizer documents. By far, the most important document, more important or at least as important as the Pentagon Papers. This book shows that Pfizer knew during its clinical trials that COVID-19 mRNA drug was harmful on a large scale, did not prevent COVID-19, could be shed from person to person, biodistributed throughout the body, and even cause death. Despite this knowledge, Pfizer and the FDA, assisted by the CDC and mainstream media, suppressed this information and prevented people from being able to get fully informed consent to receive treatment. I don't know if this policy is still on the books. Perhaps, Chief Bagley, you could confirm this. See something, say something, correct?
Excuse me.
I'm just wanting to make sure he's
speak
part
to-
of this too, but see something, say something, correct? I see a crime against humanity going on. Yes, Pfizer is not in your jurisdiction, they're 30 miles to the west, but Bronson Healthcare is, Grace Healthcare is. All of these places giving out the vaccine are. This vaccine needs to be pulled and confiscated immediately before one more adverse effect happens. Don't believe me. I'm going to give you a couple websites to go to. I hope to see pens flickering. www.dailyclout.com. These documents are free and available. The investigation is done. All you need is a signed sworn affidavit, and I can get that to you, and you can go slap cuffs on these people and start confiscating things. That's your job. That's your job. Also, howbadismybatch.com. You can go and take your vaccine card, type in your batch or lot number from any of the vaccine or boosters that you got, and see the adverse effects, see the deaths, myocarditis, pericarditis, stroke, Guillain-Barré syndrome. I have seen doctors at Bronson that have pulled out their phone and shown me clots, killer clots that are being pulled from people that are abnormal. This is crimes against humanity. It's going on in your town. It's going on in every town in this country. And I would like to see an end to this. I think we've all been affected by it to one degree or another. I sincerely hope that this will be given the sincere attention and serious attention that it needs. If anybody needs any more information, please, I am here to educate. I am here to help. And I will do anything in my power to assist anybody that is willing to stop this vaccine genocide that is going on. This is not mis or disinformation. These are documents coming right from Pfizer. That's why nobody's been sued. Thank you.
Ma'am in the back row, yes.
Hello, my name is Christina Smith. I live at 75 Keith Drive. I've been in Battle Creek for about 4 years. I was born here, and I've traveled elsewhere in all the ensuing years. I became very dependent on public transportation in other places, and I can't tell you how disappointed I've become with our public transit here. I've been using it for about 2.5 years, and that's by choice. It was an environmental choice that I made. I flew a lot in my lifetime, and I'm starting to feel really bad about all that spent fuel. And I figured, well, this is one way I can mediate what I've done. So I enjoy walking, but I can't always walk home in the dark. I got here tonight. A friend from Marshall came over to bring me, and she's waiting in the parking lot for me. We have to do something about the public transit here. I asked to be on the advisory council and was appointed to the advisory council for the transit. We've had one meeting. It didn't seem like a very effective meeting to me. I don't know what you might know about it. I was disappointed with it. And I'm just hoping that the city commission can come up with some remedies. I don't know what's within your boundaries, but your help would surely be appreciated.
Thank you very much for coming down here tonight. Are there any other public comments this evening? John?
John Kinnivick, 234 South Avenue. I'd like to explain to all citizens that are living on planet Earth, just as an off thing, that our time on this planet is finite, which means that our time here, you have to decide how you're going to spend it. In Michigan, when you go to work at a factory at 40 hours a week, approximately 50% of that time, or 20 hours, goes to one form or another of taxation going to government. So that's a lot of time lost. Or given to the government, which is getting bigger no matter what you say about the Headley Amendment. They may drop it at one location and raise 20 others. It's still 50% or more and growing worse. Now, during this time, a citizen of Battle Creek had mowed a number of properties. But he allowed some of the properties to get about 10 inches, and the code department was right out there saying, you've got a dangerous building, and came out and mowed. So I went out and took some photographs. I don't know if the camera can see them. I've got 4 photographs here of city government property that haven't been mowed at all. It's about 2 to 3 feet. These are 3 of them. Now, one might come to the conclusion maybe the code department couldn't find those locations, or it might be difficult to go out there. When it's those 3 here, or actually the 4th one I'll show you in a moment, are within less than 2-mile radius of the center of Battle Creek. They can't see these? Well, I'm going to show you one other picture. This is also in non-compliance. If you want to see where this location is, when the end of the commission meeting happens, go out the door towards the parking lot, turn left on the sidewalk, take 30 steps, and it's right in front of you on city property. You can go after and hassle people that may have a height of maybe about 10 inches on tall grass, but you don't even do the ones that are within your targeting area. What that tells me is that the government or city commission of, the code compliance department is of and beyond the law, their own ordinance. You tell other people how to live their lives, but the government can't even live its own under the same specifications. We'd call that hypocrisy. Anyone would call that hypocrisy. And that goes on year after year after year. You're not going to solve your problems when you are the problem. You can't live up to the standards you expect of your own citizens. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments tonight? Seeing none, are there any commission comments?
Here.
Yes, Commissioner Ballard.
Thank you, Mayor. Couple of things. I want to thank the manager for cleaning up the old Restore site that was a paint shop. The trash did get picked up. I think I picked up 4 bags after that, but people stopped playing the game of throwing it out there. I think it actually was a game of throwing their empty pop bottles and other debris, because it's always tied up in a nice little bag, and it's not like their rent bills or their utility bills. It's always just what they bought at the store, and they can't seem to take it home and throw it away. But thank you for getting that cleaned up. Secondly, I have to agree on the transit. I'm a little confused myself. I serve on the committee. I've been here 10 months. We haven't had one meeting. And month after, every 2 weeks, we sit here and we talk about transit and how hard it is for them to find employees, and other people writing in and saying how the employees are being overworked. I totally understand that. If you don't have employees, and you either got to cut services or you have to make people work more. But I'm just totally confused why we haven't had a meeting if transit is so important to this city. Third, I spoke with Tim from Toyota, who is a car salesman and does a lot of driving during the day. And I told him, and I asked him if he would mind if I read his email to the city that each of you have received, because I could not have written this any better. He starts off, is there a reason tickets simply are not being given out for speeding and people parking illegally? Go drive down Fairview Avenue after 6 p.m. There are crash-up derby trucks parked in lawns and huge work trucks completely blocking the sidewalk. And it's every day with zero accountability. And I see it all over the city, especially vehicles parked illegally in lawns and in sidewalks. Never a ticket. And I often hear, and I'm going off base a little bit there, but my understanding is there's certain things that the police can't give a ticket for. But you know what? Code can. And we need to get code in the police department to work together and give these tickets or these appearances to these people that are not obeying the law. Second, he says, speeding. I sell cars at Toyota, so I am on many test drives. I drive around the city every day, and the number of cars and trucks that are going 60 miles an hour on Dickman Road or 55 careening through the city is both terrifying and disheartening when you never ever see one pulled over. Now, I will give credit. I've seen 3 police cars pull over in Urbandale, so something is being done here recently. Never have I seen cars pass me on Columbia doing at least 50 miles an hour and police cruisers passing going the other direction, but doesn't turn around and pull over the speeding vehicles. No, never does this happen. And let's not even talk about the cars and the trucks with no plates on them. Do the police feel these things are not important, perhaps beneath their notice of or concern? Is these types of infractions that lead to the lower quality of life in this city, and they are easily enforced and punishable. Now, I believe the police department has stated that they're at 95% capacity or back to their number of people that they can have. And then I hear that, well, we're going to institute the traffic patrol again. I'm confused. I thought a policeman, when he's on patrol, is traffic patrol. Yes, I understand he has to answer calls or she has to answer calls, and most emails that I get are very positive of the individual policeman. It's the management that it's not coming down, that cars need to be pulled over and ticketed when they're speeding, sometimes twice the speed limit. This isn't made up. I just don't know what to do. I'll pass.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commission comments? Commissioner Patrick O'Donnell.
Here, I'm going to play a sound here. I don't know if you ever heard that. Party favor, happy news, Capitol Avenue Bridge is open. Talk about transit, we can go over it. Looked like we had a great bridge day on Saturday. People going over the bridge and the celebration of that. So I just want to put that out there if anybody didn't know that. Fire department, thank you for Fire Week coming up. It's very important. Your service is just so needed in this town. And when you're there for us. And that's what I'm glad you're all around there supporting our community. And hopefully I don't need it, but I'm just happy that you're there. I'd like to do some, we'll talk about the transit. Yes, it weighs on me too. And a few things is that, how do we find more employees? But the other thing is that some of our restrictions are other laws that are licensed, like getting your CDL license. You practically got to be Hercules now to get one. I've talked to other truck drivers, and that's just some stuff. And we limit how many hours they're supposed to work. I don't want an unhealthy bus driver or truck driver out there. I totally understand that. We don't want to overwork them, but lately it's just more government looking out for us that's causing some of these people not to pass the test due to health problems that have nothing to do with them, their driving ability or their skills. Or even if you were driving a city bus, a different set of standards for that type of thing, just so they could work 4 hours. But when you get the CDL, you got to pass the whole thing. And that might be something somebody needs to look into. We've changed the way we have substitute teachers in our schools now. We've had to change some of those rules because we were shorthanded on teachers. I don't know why we couldn't look into, well, not us here at the city, but just saying publicly, why can't that be looked into, a different way of licensing for the transit drivers, or even like vans and things like that. And I'd like to start doing some stuff here on my time when I speak as a commissioner, Ward 3 updates. And I'd really like to be, my first one would be this wonderful card here I got from Hans and Alicia Stark. I want to thank them for fixing up the Sanderson House. If everybody goes down Capitol Avenue, they are the newest recipient of one of our Michigan historical markers in our city. So I want to congratulate them on all their hard work that they put into the house. And if anybody wants to contact me on my voicemail or email address on the city and have any other things that they want to talk about with Ward 3 up here, I'm willing to listen and present them to the city. So again, Mary left, but I do love this town, and I do appreciate the hard work. We all are looking to make this a better place to live, work, and play. And sometimes we all don't agree on everything, but we all agree on one thing: this is a great place to stay. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commission comments? Hearing none, I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much for being here.